mean, one of the big things is our scenery. We've got a fantastic mountain range on one side, and we've got the sea on the other side. Very, very picturesque surroundings, and that lends itself to this area. It's quite a nice area to live in.
Well, the Kilkeel and Mourne area, it's surrounded by beauty. That's the most outstanding thing about this area. People in the Mournes are traditionally it's either farming or fishing, and they're well used to producing the natural produce which they do produce.
Our climate, we're in a rain shadow here, so although we have enough rainfall to do our farming needs, at the same time we're drier than the rest of Northern Ireland, which is why people love to come and visit.
Well, the landscaping, as I say, is the most beautiful landscape. No matter where you travel, you'll always travel back to Ireland.
The best things about this area is the seafood to start with. We've got brilliant seafood here. As I say, we're a big fishing port here, the biggest in Northern Ireland. And we have our scenery, we have our farming, we have all our normal, what would you say, country lifestyle here, foods, that type of thing, which is very important to us. And just everything about it is quite unique for us to live in anyhow, and I think it's a good place to bring up kids, and it's a good environment. People are very, very friendly here, and we've got our fishing, we've got our farming, and we've our country lifestyle here.
I mean, I've grown up in this area. It's been a pretty good area to grow up in. I now live outside Newcastle, but I mean, I've centred my business here on the family farm. This business here is also doing our beer, but my brother's business is doing the potatoes. So you can see at any one time, at any given day, we have lots of people coming into the different businesses. We have people walking down the road, calling into us. So it's very much, you know, it's a country-based businesses.
Well, the traditional industries in this area, as I say, would be the farming, the stone men, and the fishing. There's lorries come to Kilkeel Harbour for fish from all over the world. I see them, and that speaks for itself. Well, being a farmer, I just know I would always think that the fishermen are just the same kind of as hard work too. In Kilkeel Harbour, there's a lot of hard working fishermen. I would have relations that worked and an uncle that fished in Kilkeel Harbour. And they earn their money too, but they're very dedicated people and they do a good job, and I would have to hand it to them.
Well, Kilkeel is the biggest fishing port in Northern Ireland, and it's traditionally always had good quality fish. Matter of fact, Kilkeel Harbour would be renowned throughout the UK and further afield for the quality of their fish that's landed by the local boats. Well, the produce that comes into Kilkeel Harbour is now really controlled, more so than what it had been for years. All the fish is now iced and kept in refrigerated fish rooms aboard the boats, which means it's landed in premier condition. It is a grade A food, and it is always treated as such.
I'm Jerry Doyle, and I was born here in Kilkeel. Less than 100 yards from where we're standing here, a wee cottage over there. The first thing you'd notice here where we're standing is it appears about twice the width it would have been then. Of course, a lot deeper, and the tide would be half tide, halfway in, halfway out, whatever you like. There would have been about 6 feet of water just. By the time I came to fishing, there were engines, and of course you utilised the winch to haul the boat up along. What they call spring rope attached to the net. But it was a great life. Way around the west coast of Ireland, fishing up through the islands in Scotland, finding new grounds and getting directions of the Scottish fishermen and Irish fishermen. No matter where you went, fishermen seemed to be helpful. And I think anybody who was at it loved it. Some great memories of fishing.
Well, the Mourne Mountains is would be the most unique feature of this part of the world. As I say, they roll down to the sea and they're quite scenic, and what else can you really see? You need to come here to see them and to appreciate them. they look so different from sea compared to driving along in the land and that, you know. And as I say, my original birthplace is right up at the bottom of the mountains, at the bottom of Binion and that, and I've been used to them all my life, and I don't think I'll be leaving them.
In terms of the Mourne Mountain range itself, I mean, well, I think the big thing is about the number of people that are visiting. It's renowned all over the world, especially even in our business. Whenever we state on our labels of our beers that, you know, brewed in the water from the mountains of Mourne. You go to America, you go wherever you go, people know them. They're a fantastic natural amenity, which, you know, people should get up more, even myself.
One of the big attractions in the Mourne area would be the Silent Valley Reservoir, which was built about 80 or 90 years ago, and it created a lot of labour after the First World War, and it's really a sight to be seen. And anybody who walks the Mournes, there's many walks up to the Silent Valley Dam, and you can look at it from the top of the mountains, look down into the dam, and that is the main reservoir for Northern Ireland. It supplies most of the water for Northern Ireland. Well, the dry stone walls is famous in the Mournes. This is an old craft that has been passed down from generation to generation. I think it's about the only place in Northern Ireland where you'll see the dry stone walls. I think it's because of the abundance of stones. Years ago, the fishermen or the farmers had to clear their fields of stones. So instead of dumping them in the beach or digging holes, they decided to build them into walls. And it became an art, and the walls have stood for years, more so than a wall built with sand and cement.
There's a very strong sense of community in Kilkeel. People have always worked together. The small farmers, they didn't have the resources to be able to afford, for instance, a threshing mill. So farmers worked together. The mill came round from farm to farm. Everybody helped one another out. And if you learn to live together and work together, you get on very well together. The fishing boat's the same. They all helped each other out. A boat at sea on its own is at risk. So it's always better to stay with friends nearby, so if anything goes wrong you can help one another out. And if you ever go down to our harbour, even today, you'll see the fishermen chatting to each other, the farmers chat together in the market. It's because we're small and we get on so well together. And indeed, we have people from other countries now settling into Kilkeel, and they're getting on very, very well and fitting in with the rest of us. If people were to come to the Kilkeel area, the first thing I recommend is that they come to Conygham's High Class Butchers. After that, perhaps it would be better visiting the tourist office at the harbour, where they can be best advised as to where to stay, because there are lots of excellent accommodation, holiday cabins, caravans, guest houses, the local hotel, lots of places to stay, and there are lots of things to do. Cranfield Beach is one of the best beaches in Northern Ireland. There is then a whole line of beaches the whole way round to our harbour. Our harbour is very beautiful. You walk on down then to Ballymartin. Down in Glasdrummun we've got the Sherby, where the smugglers used to come in with the brandy, then share it out, called Sherby, and then take it over the mountains towards Hilltown on the Brandy Pad, which is why it's called the Brandy Pad. You can come and visit all those places and keep yourself healthy at the same time.
In the Mourne area, you've got right down to Greencastle, you've right along to Annalong. You've got lots of walks to do. You can make a fishing trip possibly down when you go amble down to Kilkeel Harbour. You've got fantastic food in the area, fresh food, restaurants. I mean, you've got a lot of time you can spend here if you just have to look for it.
You have the beaches, and you have the small towns and the restaurants, and there's a community spirit in all the shops and the butchers and the people. Everybody knows each other, and everybody goes to the small shops, and everybody buys. A lot of people, Mourne people support themselves, buy their own produce. Well, the area, we don't notice it when we live in it, but everybody comes and looks around and say, you're living in heaven. When you're living in Mourne, the area, the beauty of it, and the mountains and the people.